we need to create a budget. So the first step to creating a budget, you need to figure out your after-tax income, and you can use your private year tax return to figure out a tax rate for your overall tax rate, and then use that to times your income, and then you get a after-tax income. And that pie, like chart right there, like pie right there, is the after-tax income and how you gonna split it. This is just a general budget, like might work for you. You can adjust according to your own situations. So for me personally, I would put 50 to 65% after tax pay to essential spending like housing, groceries, personal care, and transportation essential. And then 15 to 20% go on to saving and investing. And 15 and 20% is a recommended percentage to invest, allow you to retire comfortably. And then, of course, 10 to 15% for giving. And then the best part is 10 to 15% of guilt-free spending. This is important because you do want to enjoy the fruit of your work and to prevent burnout, but also knowing how much you can spend it is the key. So you need to pick and choose the things that you enjoy the most and cut down the others. You can't just, I want it all. So if you like traveling, for example, and then you can allocate a significant portion of these budgets to vacations and flights and unique experience. But to make room for this, you need to cut down other expenses like dining out or buying new clothes and getting an iPhone each year. And this is one of the two. This is not my number, by the way. This is one of the two I'm using for myself to check. It's very convenient because you just link all your bank account, credit card, and then we put in if you're owning a home, you can put in your address. So they will check your assets for you, and then you'll also check your monthly cash flow, and then you'll categorize your spending for you. So, and this is called Karma Credits. Building an emergency fund. Do you know nearly 40% of Americans today cannot cover even a $400 emergency expense? Because most of the people live paycheck to paycheck today, and that's very dangerous. What is emergency fund? Emergency fund is the cash that you set aside and you do not touch unless it's a true emergency, like losing your job or facing an unexpected medical bill. This money will need to be easily accessed and held in U.S. currency, or U.S. dollar. That means no Bitcoin, stocks, or gold, only liquid and stable assets. Once you start tracking your cash flow and budgeting, you will get a clear sense of your essential monthly expense. So aim to build a fund that can cover 3 to 6 months of these costs, and keep this cash in the high-yield saving account or a money market fund, so you'll stay safe but also earn some high interest for you. Another point is to avoid lifestyle creep. Just because you're earning more doesn't mean you should automatically spend more. If your spending increase every time your income does, you could end up with a little to no saving. Sometimes even in negative because you forgot about income tax. The key to maintain a modest lifestyle even as your income grows. That way, the gap between your earning and what you're spending can get bigger and allows you to save and invest more and to give more. The best time to avoid, this is for a young adult or a teenager, but they're not here, but you can pass down to your kids. The best time to avoid lifestyle creep is right after college when you start your first full-time job. Because that's when you're having a fewer financial responsibility. This 1 to 3 year windows is very short, but offers a very good opportunity because it's the first time you're getting a real paycheck, and then you have very low expense. Make it ideal for save and invest aggressively. Maybe consider living with your parents for that period of time, and that could boost up your saving even more. Resist on big purchase early on, so And then you can focus on building an emergency fund, then invest the extra money to US stock market so you can get a head start. Next, we're going to talk about debts. US household debt has skyrocketed to around $18.4 trillion today. Many borrowers they borrow without understanding the plans of the debts. So for a quick way to check before you borrowing, first is the loan balance. Loan balance is how much you own. That's the starting point for repayment planning. And then the second point is the interest rate. I'll say anything about 7 to 8% is a high interest debt you will try to avoid. But because of the treasury rate these days like 4 point some percent, so the mortgage is around 7% today. So it's very high even for a mortgage. So knowing your rate, it will help you to make better decisions. And then you want to know if the rate, like the loan you're borrowing, is a fixed or is variable. Even as variable means it will change with the markets, with the treasury bonds. So even a small increase can add thousands of interest over time. So you want to be aware of that. And the repayment term is how long the period of time that you're paying that loan. Longer terms means the lower monthly payments. But of course, then that means more interest to pay overall. Shorter terms save money, but require higher payments. So you need to pick and choose that will fit your budgets and goals, and how much you are willing to pay for the interest. And the fourth is knowing your cash flow. Knowing your cash flow both now and the future is important because you don't want to take more debts than you can really pay back now or in the future. If you borrow for something you can truly afford today, you're just spending the bill and the interest into the future. You might have the perfect monthly budgets that we just talked about early on, but one big affordable purchase on a credit card can blow the whole plans apart. And today there's a lot of get a purchase now and pay later plan. Young people tend to like to use this a lot. They will they can't afford going to concert, but because they pay later, they use that, and then they will give you a certain period of time to pay 0 interest. But after that, once that hit, you can't pay it back. The interest will be like 20 to 30%. It's insane. And then you also want to be aware of minimum payments due. Low to minimum payment may seem manageable, but often only covers a portion of interest. That means you are extending the debt, increasing the overall cost. For credit card, when we're trying to set out the auto pay, it was set to the minimum pay as a default. So you want to always change that, set the auto pay to the full balance each month to avoid paying any interest on credit card. Because credit card interest is like 20 to 30% as well. So you don't want to pay. I never pay interest on credit card. And then if you have try to avoid those high interest debt. And if you have them, make sure you have the plan and then focus on paying them off aggressively before even thinking about saving and investing. And next is talk about starting investing. The best way to start was yesterday. The second best day is today. That's true for anything. It's true for working out, and also true for investing. Reason for that is because compound interest is powerful, and that's the formula. If you want to play around with the Excel, you can use that. So one of the example I'm putting, if you invest 1,000 each month at 8% interest compound monthly, you're able to reach 3 million in 40 years. And that 8% is very conservative. US market tend to have 8 to 12% average annual returns. And then if you think of $1,000 a month, actually not that much. You break it down to each week, that's about $250 a week. And then in 40 years, you're able to reach $3 million. Actually, 3.5. Here's the chart. On top of it is this is the link. You can play around with the numbers, the years and rates, or the monthly frequency, how much frequency are you putting monthly in. So this chart shows that 1,000 a month can go to 3.5 million over 40 years. And then the best part, you only contribute over about 481,000. The rest over 3 million is the pure growth and earning from the compound interest. And then I run the number. If you want to retire comfortably, and then your monthly expense about 4,000 or 5,000, reaching 1.5 million will get you able to retire. So you might able to retire early on. There's a couple investment options. First one is the individual stocks. It means the ownership in specific companies, higher potential return, but also higher risk. It requires research and monitoring. It's great for younger generation, younger people who want to invest right now. And then this second one is the index fund. It is a low-cost way to invest in broad markets like S&P 500s. S&P 500 is an index that they follow the top 5 best of American U.S. stock market right today. So invest in this index fund means you invest over the top 500s of the company. It offers the instant diversification. It's great for long-term passive investor. It's a safe way to start invest as a non-professional investor. And the third one is the bonds. It's essentially a loan like to a company or government. Generally lower risk, but also lower return than stocks. It pays a fixed interest over time. It's great when you closer to your retirement. So for older people, it's very great. And real estate, rental property and land can generate income and appreciate over time. It has good return and decent cash flow, but it's less passive. So that means you have to actively manage it, and the cost of maintaining it could be a lot higher than, not could be, it must be a lot higher than bonds and stock and funds. This is a side note. A personal residence is typically not an investment. It's a living expense unless it produces the income or intend to be resale. And the fourth is the non-productive assets. As Chinese, we love gold. Assets that doesn't generate dividend or interest are all considered in this category. They solely rely on price appreciation. So assets like gold, bitcoins, Pokemon cards, artwork, those are the type of assets. So for those assets, you only want to invest where you can afford to lose. And how to invest smart. Investing is not day trading. It's not about chasing a quick winning or trying to time the markets. Real investing should be long-term, consistent, and automated. Essentially, very boring. It needs to be set automatically investing each month, and then you can review your plan once a year or twice a year to make adjustments as needed. Because with the investing, we all know the basic formula. The basic formula is buy low, sell high. But because of human emotion, we often do the exactly opposite. We buy when the market is hot and everyone's talking about it. And then we panic when the market crashes. That's why where automatic investing helps. It takes the emotion out of the equations. By consistently buying over time, you end up purchasing a mix of high and lows, capturing the long-term growth of the U.S. market without trying to guess the perfect time to invest. The U.S. market has a very strong track record for growth over the long runs. So So over decade, it tend to go up, even though they are short-term job along the way. This past summer, I went back to China, and then people know I'm in the accounting and do tax, and they asked me a lot of finance question, investment advice, and then the advisor always tell me to invest in U.S. market because they have the strongest performance. But because of Chinese law, they can't even invest in the U.S. stock market today. So as us who live in the U.S. right now, we need to take those advantage to invest in this U.S. stock market. The second point is the diversity matters. Why does it matter? Because we want to manage the risk. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You want to spread out your investment across different stock asset types. For example, low-cost index fund like SPY, VOO, those are great options because they give you instant diversification across hundreds of companies at very low fee. And then reallocate over time. This is extremely important for older generations. I think it's one of the steps that we tend to miss. And it's why when the market drop, people closer to retirement, they tend to panic. And they did not do this allocation over time. Allocation over time simply means adjusting where your money is invested as you're getting older or as your goal change. What works for you at 25 may not be right at 50 or 60. A 25 years old might have the time on your side. You can take more risks, invest mostly in stocks. Stocks go up and down, but overall in the long term, they grow a lot. And even if the market drop, the younger people, they have years to recover. But at 50 years old, you are closer to retirement. You probably already have significant growth in your retirements, so you don't need to take as much risks. You need to start cashing out your earning. It means you shift some of the money into bonds or cash, which are more stable, can protect your growth that you already have. That way, if the market drops right now, before you and then you need the money right now, you will not be impacted as much. A great way to do that with most of the 401k to do this day is the target dated funds. It's a great option for this because it automatically adjusts your mix of stock and bond over time based on the target dates. So if your retirement is target date 2065, they will adjust 10%. Each 10 years, they will adjust 10% more of stock into the bonds. So it takes. You do not need to do that on your own, and you do not need to guess out how much you need to allocate and do all the calculation on your own. But they tend to have a higher fee because they do that for you. I don't do that because I like to manage it myself. But in my 401k, I don't have a choice. I also portion of my investment also in this. And then we talk about some tax advantage accounts. So those accounts, not just investment accounts, they come with the powerful tax benefits. It gives you about 31% more earning than the normal brokerage account. Because they are so good, they usually have limits on how much you can put in. So for Roth IRA, you put in the after-tax money, and it grows tax-free. And then when you take it out in retirement, it's tax-free as well. This is extremely powerful. That's why they has the very low limit each year. It's only $7,000 a year, and then you will adjust according to your inflation. Next year, I think it's $750 or the year before, and then I think the year after will be $8,000 each year. And that's mainly used for retirements. And then 401k issue is the employer-sponsored plan. You contribute a pre-tax money from your paycheck, and that will lower your tax money now, and you go tax deferred and pay tax when you withdraw the money. Your employer matches contribution. That's usually the free money, so don't leave it on the table. And then with the RA and 401k, usually offer a traditional and a Roth. So it depends on when you want to get taxed, and how to decide which you get taxed depending on your expectation of your tax rate. If you expect your tax rate to be lower now and higher later when you retire, you want to go higher now, lower retire. You want to do the traditional. If it's the other way around, you want to do Roth. But you don't know because the tax law always changing, and you don't really know your future income will be. So for myself, I'll put 50-50, 50 in Roth, 50 in 401k. So in 401k, you also have a option to put in a Roth 401k. For HSA, HSA stands for Health Saving Account. It's one of the most powerful account among all of these. It offers a triple threat. It's tax deductible going in and tax-free growth, and then it's tax-free withdrawal for medical expense. I treat mine like a retirement account. I pay medical expense. If I have any medical expense, I pay it out of pocket now, but I save the receipt. So I can let my HSA grow for years. And by the time when I need the money, for example, retirement, or when I actually run out of cash, I can use that receipt to reimburse myself. And then you get able to reimburse the withdrawal you get out. It's also, and then it's tax-free as well. And the fourth one, the 529 plans. It's designed for education saving. You can save up for yourself or save up for your kids and grandkids, anyone, even your cousin, your nephews. You contribute after tax. The money is grow tax-free. Withdrawal are tax-free when it's used for qualified expense like tuitions, books, or even certain K-12 costs. And another good part is that the unused amount can also roll into the Roth IRA. So if you're setting one for your grandkids, and then your grandkid does not go to college, what do you do with the money? You can roll over to his Roth IRA, so he can retire early. He doesn't need to go to college. And the best part about 529 plan is usually have no limit how much you can contribute into that on a federal level, but depends on the state. Some state has some limitations. But the catch is because you put in the 529 for someone else plan is considered a gift. You might trigger filing a gift tax return, but gift tax return usually doesn't need to pay tax. Unless you are super rich, then you might have to pay tax. I think that's all my the guideline today, and I'm gonna recap my what I just talked about with Proverbs 27, 23, 27. 23 said, "Be sure you know the condition of your flocks." The meaning of that is understand your financial situations, your income, your expense, saving, debts, and investments. So we need to create a budget, review your accounts and investment regularly. Don't manage your money blindfold. And give careful attention to your hurts. That means we need to have ongoing attentions on our money. It's not a set and forget approach. We need to avoid blindly holding an investment, and we need to rebalance the portfolio regularly with the asset allocations, and then understand that every asset you don't just buy because someone says it's good. And verse 24 says, "For rich do not endure forever, and their crown is not secure for all generations." It's very true because the economy changes all the time. Market shift, and job can be lost, and status can be faded. So we need to build it. That's why we need to build emergency funds and manage the risk of our investment. Do not overspending with the debts. Do not base on security, on money, or titles. And then verse 25, when the hay is removed, the new growth appear. The grass from the hills is gathered in. The land will provide you with clothing, and the gold will price with the price of fields. This passage describes a scenario: hay is cut, new grass grow, and wool is gathered, and meal sustain the household. This paints a picture of a patient stewardship of money, sowing in seasons and harvesting in due times. So we need to focus on long-term investment rather than quick profits. Respect the power of compound interest, and then you reap what you sow. Your spending and investment habit today will bear fruit in the future. In verse 27, you will have a plenty of goat's meal to feed your family, to nourish your female servants. So money is just not for holding, but it's a channel for provision and blessing for others, and to provide your family. And the female servant is probably the lowest in the society, so you can feed the hungers, blessing those who are in need. So we need to think beyond our personal enjoyment, consider the needs of your spouse, children, and even parents, and plan for education, retirement, and charitable givings. And this is open for questions. And then for any elders, you want to share your wisdoms, your experience, this is the time. Go ahead.
We have an HSA question.
Sure.
Is there any reason not to max out your HSA, given all the benefits?
There's no reason. If you have the money, max out.
So what you were saying is you can. So what you were saying is that you can max out your HSA, but instead of using it to pay your medical bills, you just use it as an investment tool, and just you can take that out after retirement.
Yes, but you do have to spend on, you do have to save those receipts for when you pay your medical expense.
Right, you would still use it for medical expenses, but you could put in more than you need for your medical expenses, and the rest you can roll over. And
then if you don't, like let's say there's a period of time that you pay your expense out of pocket, right? And then by the time you retire, you want to use those receipts. And those sometimes if you those receipt that you save up, it's not enough to take out all the money. The money you're taking out, you just have to pay tax, and that's still good because the money. You're still able to, the money you put in is still tax-free now, and then tax-free grow until you take it out.
Okay, let me repeat what you're saying.
Yes.
So what you're saying is the money that's in your HSA will grow based on where you invested, tax-free. And what you do is you save all of your medical bills that you pay not using the HSA for reimbursement, and you save that until after you retire, and then you use all your bills to claim all the money that you have collected in your HSA.
Yes.
And then whatever that's left over in your HSA, you could pull out, but then it'll be a smaller amount, and it will be taxed.
That's right. That's right.
Interesting.
It's very powerful. And let me go back to that slide. So the limit is 4,000, 1,500, but for families, double that amount, which is 8,030. But you also only need one spouse on the HSA. So I don't have a HSA, but Heidi does. And then this year we make it to a family, because even though it's one person owning it, you can switch to family, and that process is super easy. I think a lot of people tend not to do that. I did when I was trying to do that. I just go into the website, and then there's a chop out. You check family, and automatically it starts 8,000. You can put in 8,000. You save us around 1,000 of tax last year. And then for high HSA, you do need to have a high deductible health insurance plan to have it. So sometimes it might be wise to have one spouse to own high deductible plan and one spouse on low deductible plans. But you don't need two spouses to own the same plans. Go ahead.
So the other question I have has to do with 529.
Sure.
So let's say we didn't do it yesterday. And we realized that we didn't save enough money for our kids' college, and they're going to start 2 years ago. So is it still worth it to like put money into your 529, or do you just don't bother?
I'll say depends, because if you already max out all of it, right, and then
No, you did not.
Oh, you did not. Then you don't.
You
need to
did
worry.
not max it, but I mean the question is it worth it to put it? Is it worth it to put money into your 529 now if your kid is going to go to school next year, or like you know what I mean? Like it's going to happen in the short term versus like 10 years down the line.
I'll say depends. Do you max out all the Roth IRA, 401k, and HSA? Do you max those out already? If you do, then I'll say there's a little benefit. Not little. There's a benefit of putting your 529 plans.
Use other benefits first before you go to the 529.
Yeah, and then
But we can't open a Roth for the kids because they're not working, right? Because they have to have an
and
income.
then that's another loophole. You can open up a Roth IRA for your kids using the 529 plans. Because then if you don't use it, you can roll over to their Roth IRA. And then for Minnesota, there's actually a little benefit of opening 529 plan right now. They offer up to 3,000 of contributions tax-free now. Only from the state, Minnesota, on state side, not on federal. Any other questions? Elder Simon, you want to share some of your wisdoms?
Sure.
Awesome.
I think it's great that you're sharing all this. One thing in terms of the budget or tracking expense, that's a great idea. Years ago you can use this Mint app but I don't trust the app to have access to all my accounts, so I didn't do it. So what I end up doing is put all my expenses on a spreadsheet. Then you can track it month by month and put it in the category you want. Because you do a lot of, the nice thing about Credit Karma is they bought out Mint, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But I just don't trust them because the data can be hacked, they can have access to my account. So I just, most of the time we use credit card to pay for things. So you can go back to your credit card statement and write down all the, put into different categories. So you can track it that way. And then you have to almost track a whole year's expenses in order to get a full picture. Because what you spend in March is going to be different from what you spend around Christmas time, right? So you have to track the entire year. And after a year or so, then you have kind of full picture. Then you can form some sort of budget. And then in a way, kind of capture what all the other things you say, is that if we go back to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, Solomon actually gives us all these basic rules of investment. For a long time, I didn't know how to interpret it. So the verse goes like this: cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. What does that mean? You don't throw your bread, and what you get is end up soggy bread, right? No, not quite. Because the bread back in those days are the seeds. So it's in the swamp area, they cast the seed. So after many days, they can have the harvest. So what you're talking about is there's risk involved in doing some of this investment. I didn't come up with this. This came from Moody Bible Institute, one of the commentary. So you talk about risk, you talk about time, and you talk about compounding. Time is your compounding. And then the second verse is give a portion to 7 or even to 8, for you know not what disaster may happen on earth. That's talking about diversification. So even if you go to, I took one in this class, this professor from Harvard, talked about 3 things about investment is time, risk, and diversification. Those are 3 things that Solomon knows that thousands of years ago. And we think we just discovered. So the scripture, in a way, gives us a lot of answers in life. If we go to the scripture like what you're talking about in Proverbs 27, the scripture has so many wisdom that as we dig into it, there's so much there. And the third thing I want to just kind of mention is there are so many scams out there. Along the Myanmar and Thailand border, there's this region, they have hundreds of thousands of people. All they do is on the computer. They send you these texts, we all receive. You know, you want a investment of, you know, your return, you got 10, 20%. Don't fall for it. There are people who actually fall for it and actually, you know, they have the term pig butchering. Yeah, people know about it. It's just, they give you a little bit, and you think that you're actually earning a lot of money. But at the end, they want you to put in a huge sum, and that's when you butcher you. You never see the money again. So don't trust anything that you think is going to be such high return. These are most likely scams. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
10 years ago, my friend told me if I retire, so I need $2 million for the comfortable life. Today I saw the number you use, like 3 million. Does that number increase to 3 million now? And how about like 10 years later, what is the number could be?
I think inflation is good. Inflation is good for the stock markets. The higher the inflation is, that means the higher the price is. Higher the price is, higher the stock price is. So you don't need to worry about the inflation. 2 million today, if you does 2 million is your current retirement goal, and then you're on track of hitting 2 million now, you don't need to worry about the inflation. You don't need to worry about the 3,000 E, because if inflation is causing the comfort retirement goal to 3 million, you will hit 3 million because of that, because the inflation is good for the stock markets.
Right, I have a question, but this is not for Howing. It's basically for people like Elder Simon or, George. Your kids are all grown up, they are out from school. I just want to know if you ever invested into 429 plan, and can you please share about your experience? Because our kids are still young, and we should save for them.
Only can use in the college in the state. If the kid go outside of the state, you cannot use those money. No, that's not true, right? Okay.
You can invest in you can open a 520. You can open a 529 in any state, and your kids can go to school anywhere as long as it qualifies in terms of education. So like, we have 529 for our kids. Not even in the state of Minnesota, we have a different state, because you kind of want to look at like that state's 529, which company they used to invest in, and like how good that company is that manages the money, and so you kind of go based on that. Well, that's not what we did. That's what we did.
We maxed out in the church offering and different IRAs and 401k. We didn't have any money left for 529.
Yep.
You can pull out money from your retirement for college, right?
For
Without penalty.
which one?
Unless you're over 59 and a half.
Well, the one good thing about Roth IRA is the money that you put in is taxed. So you can technically, if you put in 7,000 in, you can pull 7,000 out if you want to pay for your tax, pay for your kids' college. It's just only the growth that is taxed.
Okay, I have a question.
Sure.
It is about like financial advisor. Do you recommend because I get call from those from the bank. Do you recommend?
I do not.
Okay.
They usually just extra middlemen that you don't really need. They make a lot of money but we don't really need them.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So you ChatGPT detail.
I was gonna say, can we just call you up?
No, I don't do this. I'm doing more tax. Yeah. I can do free one-on-one consults if everybody interested. But no investment advice. Go ahead.
Okay, like for diverse of the money, a friend introduced, annuity and insurance, like life insurance for the kids or, wherever. So what's your opinion what do you think for the annuity, let's say?
Annuity and life insurance, it is one of the investment options. You can put in some, but I don't put too much in it because based on your age right now, there's other better options right now rather than life insurance. Life insurance provides some safety, but because because of your age, I probably won't recommend it. I do have clients have life insurance and they buy very, very expensive life insurance, but they're usually around 80s, 90s, and they are super rich, so that's why they buy those. And when they die, they descendants are able to get a lot of money.
Okay, thank you.
Murray, any questions? No? Alrighty, that's it. If you know any questions.